This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Day away from
So excited.
primary election. And we talked a bit about this on Friday. The Democrat Governors Association getting involved with the Republican primary for governor, launching attack ads against both Jeanne Ives and Bruce Rauner.
That's a good sign.
And Ives responded with her own spot over the weekend.
It turns out Bruce Rauner is the Democrat Governor Association's favorite fake Republican. Rauner and his Democrat friends are attacking Jeanne Ives for being conservative. They don't like that Ives voted against the sanctuary state law Rauner signed. They don't like that Ives voted against taxpayer funding of abortion that Rauner signed. They don't like that Ives voted against the Chicago Public School bailout that Rauner signed. They don't like that Ives has been endorsed by National Review, the leading conservative journal in America. Fake Republican Rauner and his Democrat friends don't like Jeanne Ives, which is why you should.
Bing. And it'll be interesting because Rauner, of course, is suggesting that the DGA is getting involved to help Ives, more conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah, right.
By his logic, then, when I see a J.B. Pritzker commercial on the air, as I have this morning, in addition to the tuba music, when I see him attacking Bruce Rauner, so is J.B. Pritzker conspiring with Bruce Rauner?
Oh, yeah. Is he?
I mean, that's the logic of Bruce Rauner, which is to say there is no logic. For more on this and her closing argument, we're pleased to be joined again by State Representative Jeanne Ives, candidate for governor. Jeanne, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
And so what about the conspiracy theories alleged in the 11th hour here about, the DGA and their meddling in the governor's race?
Well, it's preposterous. And Governor Rauner is actually going around the state, and apparently his wife, Diana, is also saying that I'm getting, material support from the Democrats at the national level. And they're also now, apparently, I've heard also another rumor that they are actually suggesting that I have to do an in-kind contribution from them, that they should in-kind me a contribution to my campaign.
And then, by that logic,
that's
crazy.
Then J.B. Pritzker would have to do an in-kind contribution to Rauner's campaign, then.
Or maybe James Toronto of the Wall Street Journal on his piece, too, that was completely unbalanced. How far are they going to go on this?
Let's get to some substance as well. A story out today in Cranes, or over the weekend, actually, but talking about it today. It's kind of important. People's homes and home values in Chicago. Turns out, to no surprise, Chicago is leading the United States in underwater home mortgages. 10% of Chicago area homeowners have a mortgage underwater. Compare that to 5.4% in New York, 1.8% in L.A. It's the highest percentage of major urban center, and again, almost double New York, and almost 8 times LA's. And so what should be done to try and stem declining home values in Illinois? It seems to me we'd start at property taxes, right?
Well, that's part of the problem, if not the biggest part of the problem, that your house is underwater, that you're paying too much. You're paying nearly the highest in the nation, and your overall tax burden is definitely the highest in the nation. That study just came out last week from Wallet Hub. I know you talked about it. But, the secondary reason here is jobs. And it's not, high technology jobs sitting in Chicago. It's just jobs overall. It's our manufacturing base. And in January, it was interesting. There was about 407,000 jobs created in January nationwide. In Illinois' take, 200. That's a rounding error. So, it's all about job creation as well that would help prop up some of these houses that are underwater, too.
So how are you faring around the state, and are there any counties in particular that you're beating Governor Rauner in?
We think we're beating him in a lot of counties. It's just, there's still folks out there believing his lies because he's saturated the market with his lies. He's got millions and millions of dollars to do nothing but lie about my record because he can't talk about his. And unfortunately, some of that is penetrating, and he knows it, so he's keeping it up. But, we think on March 20th, we think the truth will win out. And, we appreciate that even the media now has called out Rauner for his shameful lies. So we'll see where this ends on March 20th.
How do you, if you do win the nomination tomorrow, how do you bring the party back together? Or will it be a lot easier from the conservative perspective than it would be from Rauner's perspective?
Rauner's lost all credibility. He can't bring the party back together. And regardless of what happens, he's a lame duck come March 21st because nobody believes that he's going to win in November. And there's plenty of people that will not be working hard for him. They may vote for him if they're a solid Republican, but they're not going to work hard for him, which means he's not going to win in November. So he's a lame duck, which is pretty dangerous either way.
And then,
but I think the conservatives can actually stoke the revolt. Everybody knows we need tax reform. Everybody knows that we have to fix our budgeting problem. And I think people will be motivated to wake up their Democrat neighbors and independents around the state to finally get the state back on track. With Rauner, more of the same. Nobody's going to work hard. It's going to get worse.
so that's how, to answer the question that people ask and the criticism they lodge against you as the nominee is, well, she can't win a general election. That what your answer is what you were just describing is essentially
he can't.
Well, he can't, number one, but the only way anybody can is to stoke the revolt, and you're the only one of the two who can.
I'm the only one who's really understands from a policy perspective what has to happen. And I'm the only one who's actually tried to fix this property tax problem. That really begins with the assessment issue, and I started that process 4 years ago. And Governor Rauner ignored it completely. So nobody knows the numbers like I do. Nobody understands the policy. Pritzker, Kennedy, Biss. Biss is complicit in everything that went wrong over the last 7 years that he's been down there. Kennedy and Pritzker are out of touch and don't understand how to get things done. And Rauner has failed. And Mike Madigan's going to use him as his punching bag again and again and again until he leaves office. So I think, honestly, I'm the only one who has always led on policy. It's always been about the taxpayer. And I can point to my debt consolidation bill, to my property tax assessment stuff that I've worked on, to just overall taxation issues, to education reform. They can't talk in specifics. They're not credible with the voter when it comes to policy. And that's what we have to talk about.
I know that you're a strong, sophisticated, smart woman. But how do you feel when you see these commercials linking you with Mike Madigan as if you're working together and you're being funded by Democrats? I mean, do you just laugh or how do you process it?
I don't really see them that much because I'm just not watching TV. But when they do come on, I'm just disgusted. And I just like, what a lie. What a lie. My friends know who I am. My family knows who I am. People, conservatives and other Republicans know this. The media knows that he's lying. And so I take some satisfaction in that he's going to have to live with himself and that he's destroyed every ounce of credibility he has with anybody going forward. I'm strong enough to handle it, but yeah, it bothers me because people should know the truth about this guy. It bothers me I don't have the same kind of money to spend. Mm-hmm.
But you've done a good job, I think, defending yourself. I mean, in counter commercials, that's true.
So the question that you want voters to ask themselves as they go to the polls tomorrow, what should they be asking themselves in terms of making their decision on Ives versus Rauner?
3 questions. One, the Ronald Reagan one. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Do you want how much longer do you want this mayhem to continue? And then, considering that Governor Rauner has been in charge that time, are you really proud of his record? Are you proud of the way he's ran his agencies, the way that he's taken and tackled the budget issues? And then, are you proud of this campaign? I mean, if you're a Republican voter and you know that he's lying about me, are you proud of him? His outright lies. So, I mean, those are really the questions. Do you want this guy to be at the top of the ticket? Because he's going to drag everybody down.
She is Jeanne Ives. She's the conservative Republican candidate for governor on the ballot tomorrow. Ives versus Rauner for the Republican nomination. Jeanne, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And good luck. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you